I think we can start now. Good morning, everyone. We can now start. It's our time. I want to welcome each one of you to our first Interlibrary Lending Interest Group webinar, and thank you all for attending today's meeting. Without forgetting to welcome our speakers for today, Prof. Makgatlela Lefuse from the University of Limpopo, Boketso Tladi, and Lynette van Niekerk from Sabinet, Edline Maluleke from the University of Johannesburg, and Dr. Refilwe Mabaso from Air Traffic and Navigation Services. I am Mariam Tweni, the chairperson of ILLIG, and I work at the University of Pretoria. Regarding the house rules, I would like to ask you to mute yourself and turn off your videos. You are more than welcome to write your questions in the chat if necessary. It therefore gives me a great pleasure to announce our first speaker at today's meeting, Prof. Lefuse Makgatlela. Prof. Makgatlela has been in the field of library and information studies for more than 25 years in special, public and academic libraries and in academia. He was also awarded the South African Librarian of the Year for 2019. Prof. Makgatlela is currently Program Coordinator and Associate Professor at the University of Limpopo Program of Information Studies. Prof. Makgatlela have a passion of information for development and promoting the culture of reading and love working with students studying towards LIS. He also enjoys spending his free time on reading, farming, and learning new ways of improving farming. Prof. Makgatlela's topic is rethinking the roles and skills of information professional in the fourth industrial revolution. Over to you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Maria, for the introduction. Good morning to you and good morning to colleagues. Do I need to switch on my camera, Maria?
Yes, if you want to, you can switch it on, it's fine.
I don't think it's going to be a very clear camera. We are in load shedding, so that's where I am. So I have to apologize. I think it's not going to be clear. So I'll just continue without my camera. Okay, good morning once more, colleagues. I am Lefuse Makgatlela, the Program Coordinator at the University of Limpopo Program of Information Studies. We are responsible for producing librarians and training librarians. One of the things that has been a big concern to us as a Program of Information Studies, but not only us only, but all the universities in South Africa that are providing library information service training, has been the introduction of 4IR in libraries. And that has necessitated us to review our program in line with this new 4IR that is affecting our curriculum. The previous graduates that we used to produce were those that we felt that in case they get into the libraries that are using 4IR will not cope. So we are busy reviewing our program. We have introduced the first part 2 years back, and we are hoping to introduce the second part the next few years. Okay, my presentation will be just as follows. It will be introduction and background and the role and skills of LIS professionals in the 4IR and the challenges of 4IR in LIS and opportunities of 4IR to LIS. And then it will be conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that the 4IR is upon us and we have to accept it. The 4IR, or what is known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, is disrupting and will continue to disrupt the way we live, the way we learn, the way we work, and even the way we communicate. As the world is experiencing this technological development, of the 4IR, the library and information service is also being affected.
I'm sorry, Prof.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Is there a presentation that we are supposed to see?
Yes, I just have a problem with my laptop. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this presentation. We're actually offline now. We don't have electricity, but I'll try my best to see if I can be able to. Can you give me permission to present the? Just want to see. I don't think I'm going to be able to share this presentation. Can I send to you after this presentation, maybe, so that you can share with colleagues?
Okay, that should be okay then. Unfortunately,
we are offline now. Our building does not have electricity, so it's just a bit of a challenge for us to have all the functions of our systems. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to share this presentation, but I realized that it does not give me that option. Okay. While certain jobs will fade away, others will flourish, and jobs that never existed before will become more popular. And it is for these reasons that we as information professionals need to go back and rethink about our roles and the skills that we need in order for us to fit in, especially with those new popular jobs that will come due to this 4IR. The 4IR, like the previous industrial revolution, has also brought a new challenge for workforce because new technologies requires new skills and competency. We can all agree, colleagues, that one of the things that pushed us into this 4IR was the coronavirus pandemic that has probably accelerated the arrival of the 4IR. While it is clear that the future workforce will need to match its skill set to the technology, it is also difficult for us as LIS professionals to match this new technology. I already said that with this new technology, it is clear that the LIS professionals are not exempted from this disruption. It is time we relook at the roles and the skills of LIS professionals in the 4IR era. Libraries are in an era where changes come with high speed, and this seems to be as a result of the 4IR. The emerging issues come in the form of changes that are not supposed to be overlooked by the LIS professional, and these changes also affect our libraries. There's a study that was conducted in 2021 by Ibedola, who alluded that the 4IR is a mix of cutting-edge production and methodologies and smart systems that work with people. So it is clear that with this 4IR, we have to use the 4IR, but we also have to participate in the use of those 4IR. Otherwise, we will be left out as the LIS professional. It is therefore time for the LIS professional to rethink about their roles and the skills the 4IR. The new technology of robot, artificial intelligence, and biotechnologies, we are bound to participate as we may be replaced by the introduction of this 4IR. That's why my talk today will look at how we as information professionals should relook at our roles and the skills that we can acquire in order for us to participate. I want us to look at some of the roles and the skills of ILS professionals in the 4IR. As I said earlier, the 4IR is the era of smart technologies, the artificial intelligence, the drones, the 3D printing, the Internet of Things, and various internet-connected devices which are used in the smart environment to achieve the organization's goals. The rapid changes in the present smart environment by the 4IR is unavoidable. The 4IR will assist information professionals to do their jobs effectively and efficiently. But it is only if they have the necessary skills that the library information service professionals will be able to benefit from this 4IR. For information professionals to survive in this new disruption, there is a pressure for them to equip themselves with the multiple new skills and knowledge. Librarians are also forced to match this new technology as well as their professional competency derived from professional talents such as data scientists, digital content developer, digital user advisor, and community engagement and outreach officers. Some librarians already feel threatened by this 4IR, and they believe that some certain groups of employees are getting redundant and will be replaced with the new workforce. With this statement, I think it says that if we are not going to adjust our skills, we are not going to relook at our skills and also our role as librarians, we are going to feel like our skills are no longer needed in libraries. We've already seen some libraries where they have started with these new technologies. I know there are libraries already. I know University of Pretoria is one of them, where they have introduced a lot of new technologies. I know University of Johannesburg also. I've seen their libraries have introduced a lot of new technologies that are brought by the 4IR. And that has also created some challenges. And it is always difficult for librarians that are coming from traditional public library services, that when they arrive there, they found it a bit challenging. And some are even afraid to apply for those positions because they know they might not be able to cope with the new technology. I've also seen the National Library of South Africa, they're also introducing a lot of new technologies that are in line with the 4IR. And that shows that they are also trying to adapt to the new disruption. It is also important for library staff at any level of position to create new attributes of skills and improve themselves by learning new knowledge with a determination at changing the working style that meet the 4IR trends. Having said that, let us not forget that an integral part of a librarian role is to help people with information services. So we should not forget our users as we introduce these new technologies. While we as librarians need to adapt to the new roles and also to the new technology, we also need to consider our users, because sometimes we move very fast and we forget that we have users that have to adapt to this new technology. So librarians should continuously be prepared to empower users in terms of new knowledge and skill capabilities, especially by making them understand how the future world of technology works and become technology literate. I have seen most users that are struggling to use the normal libraries that do not have 4IR. But with the introduction of 4IR, we may see some of our users being left behind. And if we leave them behind, they will look for alternative information sources. And that might not be in the form of a library. What are some of the challenges that we are facing as information professionals in adopting this 4IR? The first thing, which is a big problem in South Africa, is the power outages, or what we also call load shedding. This has become a serious concern to most library professionals, where they are reducing the number of hours that they were saving to their users. But again, with the introduction of 4IR in libraries, it might be even more impossible because they will need to have access to electricity in order for them to operate. Libraries are struggling with the budget cut, and it will be even more difficult for them to adopt the new system of having generator or backup systems of electricity in their premises, while they are struggling to have enough resources to buy books. We have seen in the news, we have seen in the newspapers that the big retail stores are spending a lot of money on diesel to keep their shops open. It's going to be difficult for us as librarians to keep our library open throughout the day. I mean, at the moment, we are at stage 4, 5, or stage 6, somewhere there. So during the day, we have about 4 hours without electricity. Sometimes it's even more. We'll have 2 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the afternoon. That says 6 hours of our day without electricity. It's going to be difficult to adopt this 4IR in our libraries with these continuous power outages. The other thing that you can also regard as a challenge, and which I just spoke about it when I was talking about the role of LIS and also the skills that I needed, is with regards to the users, with its digital skills and the digital divide. It is known that libraries can assist in breaching of the digital divide. But that can only happen if we bring up the users to be on the same level with our technology in libraries. So we need to start training the users so that it will be easy for us to adopt this 4IR. Already, there are some users that are feeling left out. I have seen users that are complaining they still want to have books in libraries, and especially the traditional users, like, for example, I've seen lawyers and also doctors that still want to have books on their shelf, where if there's anything that they just want to go to the book and get it from the book. But those are users that we can actually talk about to say, let's try to bridge this digital divide and also improve the digital skills of our users. The other challenge that we are having is the data infrastructure and compatibility. Most of the time, the type of systems that are introduced in South Africa, you find that they are not compatible to our systems. But also, sometimes it may be the issue of our infrastructure not being sufficient to carry out this new 4IR. So it is clear that we need to look at our infrastructure and try to improve our infrastructure. The slow adoption or lack of understanding of this 4IR. There are a lot of users and also librarians that are taking long to adopt this 4IR. As I said earlier, most of us were pushed by the coronavirus to adopt this 4IR. Prior to this COVID-19, we were a bit slow in adopting this 4IR. But now the pace at which it's developing in other countries, especially the Western countries or the developed countries, it is clear that we also need to move as fast as possible to adopt this 4IR. But currently, we are moving at a very slow pace with regards to that. Another issue that we are having is the cybersecurity. The challenge that is brought by the 4IR is an issue of security. We are putting our things out there to the public to view, but on the other hand, we are putting ourselves at risk with the criminals or with the people that might want to steal our information. So it's something that we need to look at and work on as LIS professional. And then the other challenge could be what we call an organizational culture. A lot of time, the culture of organizations will determine the speed at which we adopt the 4IR. And I just gave an example of the lawyers. You know, we have lawyers at the University of Limpopo, and most of them still prefer to have the acts and the statutes in printed formats. And that has created a bit of a challenge for the library to move at a very fast pace of introducing ebooks, for example, because they still need to have those printed materials in their offices. But that is also causing a budget burden on many organizations, because if the organizational culture of is not keen in adopting the 4IR, we'll always have a challenge where we'll have to have both the ebooks, for example, and also have the printed copies. And that can be a bit of a problem for our budget. Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about are some of the opportunities that are brought about by the 4IR to library and information services. There's been various studies that have been conducted about the benefits of using 4IR technologies in libraries. There's so many benefits that we can talk about. We've talked about the challenges. We need to deal with those challenges. Now we want to look at the benefits that we can get from using this 4IR. The first one that we can talk about is efficient and effective library information services. Users want us to improve our services. Users want effective and efficient services. And users also want us to move with the new technology. It is important that we as library information professionals adopt this new technology to make sure that we are on the same level as our users. But on the other hand, as I said earlier, we need to consider those other users that are not able to be that are not coming on board in adopting this 4IR technologies. But if you want to improve our library and information services, it is important that we adopt this 4IR technologies in our libraries. I've already indicated that most libraries have already adopted these technologies and people are happy with them. But they are also assisting in improving the services and also making sure that there is efficient and effective library and information services. The other thing that we can talk about with regards to the opportunity studies brought by this 4IR is access to a wide range of services and resources. It is very important, especially for the resource sharing in libraries, where some of the resources will be easier to share when you use the 4IR. We have already seen most libraries adopting clouding in sharing and disseminating their information. And it has become easier to share ebooks, to share e-journals, even to share their OPEC. That has also made it easy for them to access other services that were not available to their disposal prior to the introduction of this 4IR. There are other issues that we can talk about with regards to access to a wide range of services and resources, but the most important thing is the fact that there are resources that we were unable to access, but with the introduction of 4IR, we are able to access. Okay, the other opportunities that we can talk about is the fact that we can use the libraries as a means of bridging the digital divide. Every day, South Africans are talking about the issue of the digital divide. Those who have access to information and those who do not have access to information. With the introduction of 4IR, we can make sure that each and every single member of society have access to information. We have seen in other countries where everywhere you go, they are booths that they use to give out access to information to their society or to their communities. We can extend our services as library information professionals and probably have this type of booth, maybe in the malls, in the shops, or in the shopping complex, where users, wherever they are, they can be able to access our services. But most importantly, I think it will be the issue of ensuring that our services are also available through app on our cell phone, where users, wherever they are, they can be able to access our services. The other opportunities that is brought by this 4IR will be easy resource sharing. It will be easy for us to share our resources. It will be easy for the interlibrary loans to share the resources. Most of the time, we had problems where you have to get a journal from the shelf, you have to make copies, and then send that through either email or scan and send it through the email. But now with the 4IR, it will be easier for us to share our resources as interlibrary loans librarians. The last opportunity that we can talk about is access to users 24/7. As I said earlier, we are having a challenge of power outages in South Africa. The number of hours that we have to give our users access to information has been reduced. Sometimes people are talking about in a day, 4 to 3 hours in a day. And that says that our users have been compromised, or services to our user have been compromised. But with this 4IR, access to our services and resources can be extended even to late hours. I'm experiencing some problems with my system. It just went off. Okay, it's fine. I think my battery is getting low. Okay, but I was still saying that access to users 24/7, it is time that we adopt this 4IR to ensure that we access our user 24/7. I've seen with most of our postgraduate students at the University of Limpopo, they are sitting at home and they are able to access our services at any time of the day. If, for example, during the day, they don't have access to libraries because probably there was load shedding, late in the evening, they can go back and access those resources even though the library is closed. So that is also another advantage or an opportunity that is brought by the 4IR. In the past, it was a bit of a struggle for our users during things like where there's no electricity, where users will have to go out of the library because the library will be closed, and they will have to come back when we reopen. But now with this 4IR, at any given time, we can have our user accessing our services. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the rapid changes in the present smart environment by the 4IR is unavoidable by all, including us as library information service professionals. It is clear from what we talked about earlier that the 4IR will assist information professionals to do their jobs effectively and efficiently. And it is therefore crucial that information professionals embrace this 4IR in their ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn the new skills in order to survive. Given the unique and complex nature of this LIS profession in the value chain of information, it is clear that LIS professionals cannot escape the 4IR. But they need to try and learn how to survive in this new 4IR. And to survive in the 4IR, information professionals need to be curious and smart to learn from the other fields and streamline it to suit the LIS profession. We have seen in field, like for example, manufacturing, also we have seen in field in retail that they have adopted this 4IR, and it is time that we learn from them and see how best we can use this 4IR to improve our services and extend our services to our user. But what is even more important is that the LIS schools in South Africa need to review their program and their curriculum to put more emphasis on skills needed by information professionals to survive in the 4IR. As I mentioned earlier, there is a new LIS school framework that was introduced by the CHE, and all the LIS schools need to adopt this new framework. All our curriculum will be in line with the 4IR, and we'll also try to make the point that they adopt the 4IR in their curriculum. LIS professionals should also put more emphasis on continual training of employees, which in turn will assist them to survive in this new 4IR. Our job description and roles should be pointing towards the 4IR in order for us to survive. Undoubtedly, the capability of advancing 4IR in library has the potential to improve the provision of effective and efficient library information services to the users. But however, that can only be possible if LIS professionals relook at their current skills and try to adjust the skills in line with the skills needed in the 4IR. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much, Prof, for the insightful presentation. The fourth industrial revolution is changing the day-by-day to activities at workplaces. And thank you again. Our next speakers are from Sabine, that's Koketso, Tladi, and Lynette van Niekerk. As you all know them, they are actually from the Sabinet. Their topic is interlibrary loan enhancement. We are looking forward to learn about the new enhancement from the Sabinet. Over to you.
Good morning, colleagues. It's so good to be here today. I am going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my presentation. Can anyone please indicate if you can see my presentation?
Yes, we can see the presentation.
Thank you so
But you
much.
need to have it in not in this mode, as we can see your notes.
Oh, okay, thank you for that. I think it's the way that I shared. Let me share again.
It looks fine.
Does it look fine now?
Yes, it looks fine.
Is it better now? Is my notes still
seeing your notes? Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure how to do that.
Try and put it in slideshow mode, Koketsu.
Okay.
Okay, so it was fine just now how you had it, but now you are back with the notes.
Okay, yeah, it's a struggle. Let's try it again. Let me know if it's better now.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. We are talking about technology, and these are some of the things that we normally struggle with, especially with presentations. Yeah, so my name is Koketsu. I think I was looking at the list of attendees today, and I think I have engaged with almost everyone in this meeting. So it's lovely to be here. I have my colleague Lynette, and we will be presenting on behalf of Sabinet. And as mentioned, we are very happy to be part of this virtual event, because it is events like this that enables the ILL community to share information and to stay connected. We would like to spend the next couple of minutes sharing the ILL enhancements. I think some of us have already seen some of these enhancements, but to those who haven't seen, I think it'll be a great learning today. In our today's presentation, we'll look at the following aspects, namely ILL Express program, the recent changes to the time zone and the recent ILL tariffs, borrowing and lending constant data, the interlinked statistics for Southern African libraries. We are excited to remind you of the OCLC Express program, which is one of the smart fulfillment features. Some of you already belong to this exclusive group, so well done to that achievement. Just to explain what the Express program is, the Express program enables digital resource sharing among a select group of libraries via the WorldShare ILL platform that have turnaround time for lending digital materials of 18 hours or less. More than 1,000 libraries from around the world are actively participating in Express based on their ability to deliver articles and other digital resources within this time frame. It is exciting to share that all 16 of our Express libraries remained qualified. So on the participation on the Express program, the participation is open to libraries using WorldShare ILL or TIPASA. By participating in the Express program, libraries will commit to an 18-hour turnaround time for copy requests. To ensure the program is beneficial for all participants, the OCLC resource sharing team regularly reviews turnaround times, contacts the participation not meeting the program expectations, and adds or removes participants so that the goal or the goals of the program are maintained. Participating in the Express program ensures that you benefit from the quick turnaround time for digital materials. 16 libraries, as mentioned, in South Africa are currently participating in the program. It is good to see OCLC Express Library proudly displaying their Express delivery badges on their social media pages, in their signatures, and on their website. So keep up the good work. Since the launch of OCLC's Express Digital Delivery Program in January 2021, Express libraries have filled more than 1 million copy requests in average of 10 hours. Currently, more than 1,000 libraries from nearly 20 countries are delivering ILL requests with remarkable speed. Eastern Kentucky University libraries, for example, have achieved one of the fastest growing times. During one 6-month period, 30% of requests were filled in under 1 hour, 40% were filled in under 2 hours, 10% of requests were filled in under 2 minutes. With the March 19 release of WorldShare ILL and TIPASA, dates and timestamps across the OCLC ILL network receive an extensive update. Until now, the OCLC Interlibrary Loan Network have been very US Eastern time centric. Regardless of where you are located in the world, dates and times have displayed in Eastern time and US style for date and timestamps. With this release, values are now stored in full UTC, which is Universal Time Coordinated, date and timestamps. This enables the display of dates to you and your users in your institution's time zone and region's preferred format, which eliminates the need to convert dates and times to your local time zone. Your time zone and preferred format are displayed in the following places. Those of you who have maybe navigated around the ILL policies, this is where you'd find or you'll see the changes on the formats. They will display in the OCLC policies directory under the schedule tab, and you'll see those under the open hours and closure dates. Your time zone and preferred format, again, relating to TIPASA staff interface. So that would be in the request history. All date fields, that is the need by date, the request date, the shipped date, due date, received date, and returned date. So that is just an example of how it displays on the date. The operating hours, your operating hours will be displayed to you in your local time, but stored in the UTC time. So ILL staff in other time zones will see your library's hours adjusted to their time zone, making it easier for them to know when your library is open. And then also on the closures, if you have a library closures, please don't forget to update the closure section in your scheduled tab under the policies. And also a good news, beginning on the 1st of April, closures will be timed based on midnight in your institution's time zone. And also just a reminder on the policies and contacts tabs. While you are in the policies directory, it is good. It's a good time to also update your deflection and policies for copies and loans. If you don't know how, I think we mostly provide training on that. So that is just an example of what I meant by the time zones. If you're in South Africa, Johannesburg daylight time, which is the UTC plus 2 hours, and you set a closure for example, for 15 December to the 10th of January, users in the US Central Time, which is the UTC minus 4 hours, will see the closures as 14 December and to the 9th of January. Kindly take note of the following from the release notes. I will from the release notes, dates for bookstraps and stickers were not updated with this release, but they will be with the upcoming release. In the meantime, we recommend that you do not include due dates on the bookstraps. Notifications, likewise, were not updated with this release, but will be with an upcoming release. Requests that were in flight before this install will not be updated retroactively. I will now hand over to my colleague Lynette, who will proceed with the second part of our presentation, and we will be co-presenting still. Thank you.
Thank you, Koketsu. Off-system requests. This functionality was introduced in April last year. So what is off-system requests? It's basically a request between you and another library who doesn't have the Wiltshire ILL system. So the off-system partner will contact you, typically via email, as they do not have access to the ILL platform. You will now be in a position to create and manage the request between you and them on the system itself. The benefit of this is that everything is one central place for you, and the transactions will also form part of your statistics come month end. Next slide. On the home page, you will see there on the left-hand side, there is a dedicated request queues for borrowing and lending. And this is where you will be able to track all the requesting activity within Wiltshire ILL. Like we said, because the partner institution will communicate outside of the Wiltshire interlibrary loan system, staff will need to manually update information in the request. You will basically need to update or edit off-system requests for two main reasons. Firstly, you need to process and respond to an incoming email message from the off-system partner. And secondly, you need to instigate or initiate the next phase of the ILL transaction and send an email indicating the change to the off-system partner. Next slide. Off-system borrowing requests. So if you are the borrower or the requester, you would probably approach an off-system lender when you have exhausted all your in-system lender streams and you have still not filled the request. Or maybe because the nature of the material demands that you have to start the request off-system. So you're going to create an off-system request by taking an existing, new, or exhausted ILL request and changing the fulfillment type to off-system request. Next slide. Off-system lending. As a lender or a supplier, Koketsu, I think we need to go back to the previous slide. Thanks. As a lender or a supplier, you will manually create a new off-system request because of incoming email requests. So you're going to use the Create Lending Request button that's on the left-hand side in the off-system requests queue to create off-system lending requests. Next slide. There is now also an address book for off-system requests. So you can now create a contact list for yourself. So you will create and maintain details about off-system institutions that you borrow from and lend to, in order to automatically populate the partner details in your off-system borrowing and lending requests. So there's no need for you to type it out manually each time. Entries must be created in the Partners tab before you would be able to use the partner in an off-system request. Please note that partners cannot be deleted once they have been created, but they can be flagged as inactive so that they cannot be included in future transactions. Next slide. You will find the address book in your service configuration. To add a library partner to the address book, select the Partners tab, then select the Add Partner tab, And from the new partner screen, enter the information about the library's partner's identity. Next slide. Most columns in your off-system borrowing queue were sortable previously, but the off-system lender column was not. But now, because of this latest release, this feature is now also available, and you can now also sort your requests by lending partner name. Next slide. Furthermore, to off-system requesting is that the off-system lending and borrowing requests that are 14 days overdue will automatically have the overdue status applied. So as the lender, you can use this item overdue notification to notify the borrowing library when an off-system request moves to the overdue status. And if it is important to notify the patron as well, then you can use the in-system email functionality to send them an email with information regarding the status of their request. Next slide. You might or might not be aware that new ILL tariffs for SISE members have recently been issued by the National Library. These new fees are already effective as of the 1st of April this year. The new tariff for loans is now R82.50, showing an increase of R2.50. As a result of this, you now need to update your constant data and policies directory accordingly to ensure that you don't lose out on revenue. Next slide. We suggest that you update your borrowing constant data to reflect the maximum cost as R82.50 for books. This will indicate that you are willing to pay this tariff for a loan request. Next slide. Lending constant data. Please also update your lending constant data to reflect your lending charges as R82.50 for loans so that you don't lose out on revenue unnecessarily. Next slide. And lastly, please update your policies directory to reflect your tariffs for loan requests as R82.50 so that your policies can reflect the true state of affairs. Next slide. Let's have a look at some interesting borrowing ILL statistics for the past 2 years. COVID was still very much a reality in 2021, but you can see from the borrowing stats from the past financial year that things are picking up again. In short, more ILL requests were initiated, more requests have been filled. There is also a significant increase in the number of loans filled, and unfilled requests went down, which is very good news for us all. Next slide. The lending ILL statistics over the past 2 financial years tell us the following stories. There is an 8.7% increase for requests that has been filled over the past year. The number of loans filled increased by a whopping 2,358 loans. And again, as on the borrowing side, we saw a decrease in the number of unfilled requests. 2,159 less unfilled requests, which equals a 7.6% decrease. Again, congratulations to all libraries for promptly responding to your ILL requests and ensuring that requested items are supplied within a reasonable turnaround time. Next slide. And that is all from us. Thank you. It was nice spending time with you this morning. And should you have any queries, you are welcome to reach out to us. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation, Kogetso and Lynette from Sabinet. Express program is working very well as it improves the ILL turnaround time. Hope other libraries will also use the Express program. And thank you for updating us on the ILL tariffs. Thank you again. Our next speaker is Edline Maluleke. Headlines librarianship or archivist career started at CPUT as a student assistant and tutor. Then it expanded when she worked at Itemba Labs Special Library in Somerset West, Cape Town. Edline is currently working as an archivist at the University of Johannesburg Library, also worked as a general information librarian, and worked as an after-hours branch librarian at the University of South Africa. Last year in July, Edline presented a paper at the SASA Manual Conference titled The Impact of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Unforeseen Pandemic on the Physical Archives. 2023 just completed a one-year course in Public Policy and African Studies at the University of Johannesburg. Edline's topic is Archives and Special Collections, Resource Sharing. Over to you, Edline. Hello, Edline, we cannot hear you. Edline, hello, we cannot hear you. Edline, are you maybe muted? We cannot hear you.
Hello,
Hello, hello, we can hear you now.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
I don't know, I have to mute and mute so that you can hear me, but I can hear you clearly
Okay.
well. Can you see
Okay,
my
you can
screen?
hear. Yes, no, we only see you, not your screen.
Okay. Let me just stop sharing. Still nothing, ne?
We can see your screen, but yeah, there it comes. Yeah, we can see the screen now.
Hey, this for IR. Okay, I just want to stop my video. You will tell me if you hear me. It looks like the video and the sound doesn't go together well.
Okay, but we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Maria. Thank you, colleagues. I'm going to talk about the UJ Library, Archives and Special Collection, and resource sharing. This is just the content of what I'm going to talk about, my outline. The aim of the UJ Archives and Special Collection is to provide a valuable, unique research resource for the UJ community and any other researcher who needs our services. It might be national or international. We provide primary source material and rare books that covers many aspects of Southern Africa. Our main focus is on Johannesburg and the Witwatersrand, its history, architectural heritage, and people. Within this focus, our main strengths are mining, mine workers, and businesses, especially family business and small businesses development in Johannesburg area. The types of materials that are available with us, we've got the archives, which are documents that are available in boxes, and those documents are indexed and the inventory are available online. And we also have newspapers that are available online. We don't have physical newspapers in the archives. We have maps and buildings. And then the second material that we have is the rare books. Our rare books are books that are out of print, are books that are first editions, and are books that are signed by authors. The third one that we are having here is the audiovisual material, which consists of film reels. Some of these films are digitized and some are not. And we do have audio tapes, VHS, the CDs, DVDs, the slides, photographs, and the negatives. And we also have artifacts, which consist of beadworks and any other objects that we have, the Mendels and all those objects that we have, like your typewriter, the old telephone, a lot of things, objects that we are having here. Acquiring the collection, how do we acquire our collection? For archival records, we get them through donations from different stakeholders. For example, currently, we are in the process of receiving Dr. Sam Mutsunyana's collection. Dr. Sam Mutsunyana is the founder of the African Bank, the first chairperson of NAFCOC. He had chaired many organizations. I can't mention is a lot, like your agricultural project, Rural Development Forum, and many more. So the donors who donated their collection to us, they have to sign a donor agreement form. And we also have rare books that are bought on auction, and some are donated. But still, even if they are donated, and even when we buy our rare books via auction, we look at the niche market if they are related to what we are focusing on. If it's not related to our niche market, we don't take even if it's donation or buy. We have to get straight to what we are looking for, not any other things. So that's what we're looking for. And then about resource sharing, as organizations are not possible, or institutions that are not, it's not possible for all institutions or any institution to purchase or to have everything. I've heard the first speaker talk about the budget. So we cannot have everything because there's budget involved, and budget are so constrained, and every year we do have those budget cuts and everything, and prices of collection went up every now and then. So it's not possible for institution to have everything. And then another thing, we also need to consider the storage space, because we can't buy everything due to the lack of space to store. Even now we have this 4IR of buying ebooks and everything, but we cannot have everything in the collection. So therefore the resource sharing is very crucial. So resources in archives and special collection are not available for lending. They're only used in-house. You can't even take it out from the venue, but we do share with other departments like the interlibrary loans in this library. We do copy or scan our resources upon the ILL request. So due to the nature of records that can be taken out of the venue, if ever there's a ILL request, we have to do the scanning on our own or do copies if need may be. And then due to the nature of records, when you have to handle our archival material, you have to use gloves. That's the procedure that we have to go through. So it's not easy for a person who's not working with them to page through the book wearing gloves and everything when they do photocopies. So we do that on our own, and then we send it to the person who has requested it. Beside our ILL department here, we also share our resources with the UJ community, that is our staff and our student, postgraduate, undergraduates, our alumni. We share the resources with our Chelsea members. We share the resources with national and international researchers and any other member who needs our services, whether it's a private member, anyone who go through our website and see something that they need. We share the resources with them because they put a request. So we do the scanning on demand, meaning whenever there's somebody who requested the resources that we have,
Hello, Edline. We cannot hear you now. Edline, hello. We cannot hear. Edline, hello. Edline, are you there? Colleagues, Edline might be having a problem again.
I was trying to see if maybe she's trying to write on the chat, but there's nothing so far.
Yeah.
Morning, colleagues. I think she's disconnected. I don't see her on the participants.
Can we then maybe move forward?
Or maybe take just a 2 minutes or 5 minutes break. Maybe she will come back. I don't know.
Let's just wait a minute. Maybe she will come back.
Okay.
Adeline, hello. Adeline, hello, you are muted.
Hello, we just had
Hello, hello.
we just had load shedding while I was busy presenting.
Shame.
So
Okay.
the network just went off, but my laptop didn't went off. It's just the network that went off because of the load shedding.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Can I continue?
Yes, you can continue.
Okay, I was in this slide of saying that beside our ILL department, we also share our resources with the other UJ community, like the staff and the students, the alumni, the CHELSA member, national and international researchers, and any other member who needs our services. We would, even if it's a private person who go online and find something that we have and come here, we are able to share our resources with them. We do scanning on demand. So it means whenever someone requested information, we do the scanning because we don't have the digital records of everything that we are having here. So we just digitize for that time or scanning that time, and then we share the documents to the researcher via email. And if the document is big, we share it via SharePoint. or Dropbox, depending on how big the document is that the requester has requested. But we do charge a fee for scanning, and also a visitor's fee if for a private researcher, if the person is not a Chelsea member, like maybe a member from other higher education institution, we do charge the visitor's fee when they come here. But if they are part of the Chelsea members, we request the introduction letter from their institution that confirms that they are working or studying with that particular institution. And then when it comes to copyright issue, we also take a copyright issue into consideration once we have received the request. Because like, for example, let's say a person is looking for a rare book that we are having here. We can't just scan the whole book or copy the whole book for that person. So we stick to the copyright issues, which says 10% of that. And if the person needs the whole book, it means they have to request their permission from the publisher or the author. So our researchers need to sign a form to confirm that they are requesting the information for research purposes only and not for commercial gain. So if they want that resources for commercial purposes, our legal office, which is the Technology Transfer Office, handles that issues. In conclusion, that's my view. Resource sharing is valuable in libraries. I feel like the ILL department plays a crucial role in organization or in libraries because clients depend on them to fulfill their information needs. So it's not only about students, even staff. If we want something that we don't have, as I've mentioned, that not everything, not in an organization, we cannot have everything. So we just request via our interlibrary loans department, and then they requested maybe via subnet or whatever how they work to request that information or that queries for us. So with that, I'm done with my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Adeline, for the powerful presentation. ILL departments are really doing very well by sharing articles and books freely, especially for students who are in need. Thank you again. Our next speaker is Dr. Refilwe Mabaso. She is the chairperson of the board of the National Library of South Africa with information and knowledge management professional. Dr. Refilwe Mabaso is an accomplished senior business leader with over 30 years experience that spans the full spectrum in both private and public sector. Dr. Mabaso is working for Air Traffic and Navigation Services as a senior manager, information and knowledge management, and also the chairperson to numerous boards and committees. Dr. Mabaso has a strong history of orchestrating operational excellence in library management, information management, record management, knowledge management, data analysis, business intelligence, and information governance. Currently pursuing to publish 2 books, one in information governance and the second single parenting. Passionate about community services with the purpose of serving the disadvantaged and those who are in need of service to restore their dignity and make them to feel loved. Dr. Mabaso's topic is Mandate of the National Library of South Africa. Over to you, Doctor.
Good morning. Please confirm that you can hear me, Maria.
Yes, thank you. I can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. And good morning to everyone, colleagues, friends, and those that I haven't met, but I'm sure we'll one day have a chance to meet and see each other. Thank you very much to Maria and the team for inviting me. I feel very much honored, and thank you. I took the invitation not as personal, but an invitation came through as representing one of our most important and noble organization, which is the National Library of South Africa. As a librarian, you will agree with me that the National Library is key, is important, like any other institution that we take care of as librarians. So I'm very much honored, and I bring greetings to all of you from my colleagues, the CEO and the National Librarian, and all other colleagues at the National Library, to all of you. As mentioned and introduced, I'm not going to be, let me make some comments of the previous speakers who were very much spot on. Prof, you actually stole some words from my initial preparation, but as I listened to you, I immediately went back to my presentation so that we don't bore people. I cleaned up my presentation and made sure that I don't repeat what you have said. Very much spot on. We are at a point whereby we really need to reshape, look at ourselves as librarians and as professionals and practitioners.
Sorry, Doctor. Sorry, I just wanted to find out, are you going to share your slides?
Yes, I'm going to share. I'm actually trying to bring up my screen. Please confirm as soon as you can see if, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
You can see it. Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen and then try to be off the camera so that my network can be a little bit stronger. So I hope you don't mind.
Yes, no, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was still going on just reflecting on the earlier presentations with the prof earlier on when he presented about how we have to re-look at ourselves as librarians. And as I said, that was very remarkable, Prof. Well done. And I wish we could repeat and talk about it throughout the day. However, that's not the purpose of today's session. But I want to mention that what you touched on, it's so important and is so much topical for us to relook at where we are as librarians, like any other industry. If you look at what is happening in all types of industries, digitization, transformation, artificial intelligence and so on has arrived, and we need to move on. And we're moving on the basis of saying we want to continue to retain our users, we want to continue to remain relevant, and we want to be relevant in terms of content that we share with our users. More than anything, again, that they don't go anywhere else, that we should remain as a true source of reference in any content that they require. So well done to you, Prof. I was very much impressed. Thank you very much. And to all other, and I'm sure with Sabinet, we all know we, as librarians, if we don't use Sabinet for sharing your resources and also for using other resources from your peers, your colleagues from other institutions, you deem to be disappearing, because that's where you get support and that's how you expand your content and your resources. Thank you. I saw it befitting to, as I said, what Prof presented was almost what I was going to present, but thank God to the organizers in the sense that at least I had time between Prof presentation. There were two presenters. I quickly flipped and prepared and reworked on my presentation so that I don't repeat what Prof said, because the better part of what Prof presented was what I was going to present. So I changed my presentation, or not change, I modified it, because change is like I started afresh. No, I modified it so that I don't bore you and I don't repeat what he has said. So my presentation then it's now going to focus on what we do as the National Library of South Africa. You will, I'm sure some of you have heard of us, and obviously as a librarian, I doubt that you can be a librarian and you've never heard about the National Library of South Africa, not unless, yeah, let's not even question that. Let's assume that all of us understand and knows what is the National Library of South Africa and what we do. It's the reason why I'm here today, to revisit and remind each of us what is the National Library doing and why you should still use us and why are we still important, and they're very, very much at a point where we possibly can be a support to your services. So firstly, let me say at the National Library, we are in 2 campuses. We've got the physical space in Pretoria. We call it the Pretoria campus. And we've got another physical space, which is in Cape Town. We call it the Parliamentary Gardens. When you are in Parliament, there's no way you can miss the library. So you've got all the reasons when you are in Cape Town, please visit us. It is an iconic, beautiful building, let alone the resources which are in that building. So please visit. You can't go to Cape Town and not go to the Parliament Gardens and not see the library. There's no way. It is so iconic, so beautiful, and it's worth visiting. You'll feel the warmth. You'll definitely feel content as a librarian. So I'm encouraging you to visit those 2 buildings, and both of them, they've got their own characters. And I mean the characters in terms of for the modern technology and also the heritage preservation that you feel when you go to the Cape Town campus. And when you go to the Pretoria campus, you can feel the modern digital world that we are embracing as the National Library. And when you go to the Cape Town, you can feel the heritage of South Africa, which has been preserved in that building, that will forever cherish and continue to keep as a nation. So as the National Library, we are constituted. We are part. When they constitute. We are in the Constitution of South Africa, which I want to believe all of us knows it, and we are mandated as the National Library by from Schedule 4 and 5 of the Constitution of South Africa. Part A and B describes our functions, that we are exclusively responsible for retaining the information of this country, ensuring that we retain it and we ensure that it is available for all of us. And when I say all of us, I mean us as in the country. So we've got that full responsibility of becoming a national repository for all the publications and also for the a documentary that is happening in this country or produced in this country. So again, we've got 2 legislative frameworks that are legislating the National Library. We've got the National Library of South Africa Act of number 92 of 1998 and regulations. We also have the Legal Deposit Act of 1997, Act number 54. And I'm sure we know them by heart, because this, in my days, I don't know, because Prof, you've mentioned that you are really looking at our academic material, academic offerings, and I hope you are not deleting this important information, because I've learned for this. I was a student at the University of the North. By then it was still called TEFLOP. I studied about this legislation and I continue to know about it before it was even updated in 1998. So colleagues, I'm sure we know about these 2 legislative frameworks, that they are mandating us as the National Library to ensure that we preserve all or everything that is published in South Africa for future use and for the memory of this country. And as stated, our main aim is to also to ensure that we contribute to the socio-economic, cultural, educational, scientific, and innovative development by collecting all, and I mean all is published, recorded, and make sure that we preserve it. And we make it available so that it can be appreciated by all of us, and fostering the information literacy in terms of improving our information literacy as a country, and facilitating access to information, and also sharing it worldwide, because we're part of the global community. So our role is to ensure that that information is available, is to make sure that we preserve it, and we make sure that we contribute to the culture of this country and the heritage of this country. And we also have various activities, and most of our functions are more about collection development. So I had the previous speaker from the University of Johannesburg, Atkin, mentioning that we are preserving, which is very good, because we cannot have one central point of preservation. However, hence we have this group in terms of sharing our knowledge, sharing our information, and we collaborate in terms of how we support each other. We also do exactly what you said, Atkin, with regards for collection and making sure that we preserve it and we build on that collection for use of those who need it. So we build up on our complete collection from different sources and different individuals, and mainly even you as an individual, as a librarian, you could be sitting here writing a book. Please raise your hand as soon as you are writing about it. Make sure that it's available in our national heritage or repository, that is the National Library. So we also build a complete collection of foreign documents relating to South Africans. So what we do, when we identify that there's a collection of an individual, but it's not with us in South Africa, it is our role as the National Library that we make sure that it comes back home. We know most of our politicians, some of them, they left the country, and a lot of collection was actually developed while they were away. Some of them are not necessarily a politician, but our role as the National Library is to ensure that we preserve it, we go and collect it, and it must be available in South Africa. So we also supplement any kind of information that is needed in terms of South African publications in all libraries. And I know that we maintain the existing one in terms of whatever collection that is already done. And we also are responsible for the bibliographic control, recording of the national published documentary heritage in bibliographic databases, act as a national bibliographic agency. Most of you have used us and are very much working closely with us, publishers, serve as the National Center for International Standard Numbering Schemes, compiling national book production statistics, promoting cataloging standardization, planning and coordinating training. Those are some of the core functions that we are responsible for. And we are also responsible for providing access to own holding, either on-site or off-site. We are very much hybrid in terms of for access to our information, promoting access to holding of other library materials. That is how we do our resource sharing, organizing and administering national interlibrary loans, lending. That is very much a key for us. As you know, that we are even part of the Sabinet group. We work very closely with them, very excited to be sharing the webinar today with them. And we also were mainly, as I've mentioned, that the Legal Deposit Act mandates us to ensure that we make provision of the establishment of official publication depositories entitled to receive gratis copies of official publications of central, provincial, local governments and parastatal bodies. We do research currently on a number of related matters that have been that are listed, and mostly we are also responsible for making sure that we identify any topical matter and we research it, we lead in the country, and ensuring that as a least sector, we remain relevant in terms of our research. And preservation, as mentioned earlier on, we are responsible for the preservation of our own collection, preservation services to other libraries that is providing training of on preservation matters. If you need training, please raise your hand in terms of preservation. We've got a team that will train you, monitoring and undertaking national audits, specializing in the restoration projects on behalf of the other libraries. So we work very closely with the various libraries and we collaborate in many other functions. And as I mentioned, that our one of our main aims is, and which is mandatory, it's the heritage of this country. So we are responsible to ensure that there's heritage awareness and appreciation. We deem not, there's a saying that says that if you don't tell your story, somebody will tell it. And by the time it's told by someone, it's translated, it's diluted. So we are here as the National Library to ensure that we preserve our own heritage so that we are able to tell the story. And we can only be able to tell the story if we preserve it and we keep it as safe as possible and we make it accessible to those who want to have access to. So we do exhibitions, we arrange traveling exhibition, publishing exhibition, cataloging, hosting book launches, media events, and so on. So there are a number of activities that we do to ensure that our heritage is known out there, and it is ongoing. It's just an ongoing process that we do. So colleagues, in conclusion, I want to highlight that as the National Library, our main function is the bibliographic services, information access, and preservation and conservation. And that is also because we want to make it available and share it. It is available, and through Sabinet, you can access our information. And we have so much information. It's in millions and millions on both the campus in Cape Town and the campus in Pretoria, and it is accessible even online. So with our information, you don't necessarily have to come physically. You can have access to it. And yes, we are part of the resource, of the sharing platforms in terms of whether you are saying, are we part of it? Yes, we are. Anytime you need our information at any given. So we are moving with the digital era. We are part of the digital space, and we are making sure that the virtual services are also available. I'm sure we all can agree that COVID taught us few lessons. We needed to step up, and we have never stopped learning from the lessons that we had during the COVID era. And we continue to make sure that we don't stay behind with the latest development in terms of digital transformation. So colleagues, this is high level in terms of what we do, but it's even way beyond what I have presented this morning. However, I'm going to leave my presentation here and allow I can take questions if allowed. That is based on the program director at a later stage, and also to say thank you very much for the invitation. And this is what we do from the National Library, and how we want to be known, and how we'll continue to show our services as and when we are required. Thank you very much, and over to you, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for inspiring presentation. All libraries rely on the National Library, especially with old collections and articles from the newspapers, etc. Thank you very much. Now is the time for questions and answers. Any questions from any speaker?
Maria.
Hello, Roselle.
Okay, Roselle Jansen van Vieren from the National Library of South Africa, Interlending Department. I just want to add here to Dr. Refilwe Mabaso. As you all know, that our Interlending Department ensures remote access to information nationally and internationally. And then also that we are the administrator and coordinator of the Southern African Interlending Scheme, which all of or most of your libraries are part of. I just wish to also remind all libraries that our annual subscription fee sales orders are going to go out from this month. And I just want to ask you to be on the lookout for it, for payment, as especially also for the courier service annual subscription fee. Both are 500 Rand. I also want to ask you and remind you, if any of your email details or contact details have changed, to please contact the National Library through DocDel, or go and change and edit your details on the SAIS online database. Then also to add up to the offline system requests that Sabinek presented, I just wanted to say with that, when you are creating an address book, please make use of our SAIS online database, which is a database of contact details of all Southern African interlending membership libraries. Thank you.
Thank you, Roselle. There is a question for Prof. It says, how, on a chart, it says, how would license with vendors affect sharing resources? In each institution subscribe to their own resources and extensive license agreements for these expensive resources. That's the question for Professor.
Was that my question, ma'am?
Yes, it is the question that it's on the chart.
Okay, what does the question say? Sorry, I didn't hear you well on that one. I just hear you saying.
It says, how would license with vendors affect sharing resources? Each institution subscribes to their own resources and extensive license agreements for these expensive resources.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. With the licenses, normally, and especially with e-journals and or e-books, most of libraries work through the consortium. So there is some agreement, I'm sure, with the consortium that when there is a request for a particular resources from another library, it can be downloaded through that consortium licenses. So it's not like the license is just only between the organization and the vendors, but I'm sure there is a consortium that also assists negotiating the licenses. And I know with interlibrary loans, mostly the first request that is sent, if it's available within the consortium, it's sent through the local consortium before it can go out. But that is also another challenge that we can also talk about with regards to the license. That and it comes from us as academics that we have given too much powers to the vendors. I mean, they own all our resources and they control on how we share and you know, or maybe even send resources to our users. But the other thing is we are the one who are producing those resources. So it is something that we need to sit down and engage with the vendors, but also use our consortium to help us to engage with the vendors so that we can have some agreement. I mean, I can give you an example. One of my colleagues has just published a paper, and I want to download that paper through another vendor. I can't get it, but it was published by my colleagues next door to my office, which is a bit of a challenge. So it becomes a problem. I know the people that we work with at the University of Limpopo Library, they are our own articles that have been published by the Program of Information Studies with the department closer to them, but they are struggling to get them unless they log in on with using their login details. But if they are not subscribed to those databases, you find that they are unable to get it. So maybe this time that we engage our consortium and we try to improve on our communications with the vendors so that we can have an improved relationship that makes it easy for us to download and share resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Any question?
Can I also ask the professor with their LIS school framework in their studies curriculum, what kind of courses do you give to them to embrace 4IR?
Okay, thank you for that question, Roselle. We are guided by CHE on the new curriculum that we have to implement, all the ally school. Although the curriculum doesn't say specifically which technologies we need to teach, but when we just start talking about 4IR, we try to include each and every single 4IR technologies that you can think about. But with us at the University of Limpopo, and especially our side, we strictly focus firstly on the foundation phase of our qualifications, on the core of being a librarian, which will be your cataloging and classification, indexing and abstract, references and interlibrary loans. Those are the core skills that our students need. Once they've acquired those skills, then we move on to the next level, which will be the last 2 years of their studies, where it involves a lot of practicals, but also we also bring along modules like your information systems, your library automations, your information society module, knowledge management and record management that deals with those elements of 4IR. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. There is also a question on the chat, says, is the quarterly bulletin available online? I don't know for whom is this question.
I think this is directed to the National Library of South Africa team.
Okay. That will be Dr. Refilwe Mabaso. Doctor, there's a question for you. Is the quarterly bulletin available online? Hello, Dr. Mabaso. We cannot hear you. Hello, Dr. Mabaso. Okay, there's other question from Luke Ngubani. How can special libraries benefit from consortium? This question is for Professor Makgasela. Prof, that's the question for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Maria. Well, the special libraries are a bit of a challenge for consortium because most of them find that they don't belong to any consortium. But I'm sure if we can try to engage with the consortium, we can include. Not every special library is not in the consortium. I know libraries like your HSRC and also the CIR are part of the consortium, but maybe it's because they are also part of the academia. That's why the website says the AC.za. But truly speaking, we just need to bring together all the special libraries under one consortium where they can negotiate for buying resources together, which will save them a lot of money, and especially because they are the ones that have more buying powers, like unlike your academic libraries, because they have more money as compared to other public institutions like your government department and also university libraries. I worked for the South African Reserve Bank for many, many years, and I was responsible for their electronic databases. And we were just doing it on our own, and we were not even getting any assistance from anyone. They had all the money that we wanted to buy all the electronic resources that we wanted. So it was easy. But I know SARS also had a library. Auditor General also have their own libraries where they were just going on their own and buying their own resources without the help of anyone. So it is time that maybe there should be a consortium for special library. I don't know if we still have the interest group for special library here under LIASA, but during my time, we used to have an organization called If I Sleep that was amalgamated into LIASA many, many years ago, and there was a special interest group for that. That also was in the process of negotiating for special libraries to come together and buy resources as one organization, and that was going to be very helpful. But unfortunately, with the LIASA coming out, they suggested that we amalgamate with LIASA and become one organization as LIASA. But of course, if there was a special consortium for all the special libraries, a lot of special libraries will definitely benefit, like how special libraries are, academic libraries are benefiting from this consortium that they belong to. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for the clarification. There's the hands up for Madi Tipi. Madi Tipi, over to you.
Hi, good morning, colleagues. Thank you so much, Maria. I just want to reply on what Prof has just mentioned, that he's not aware about the Special Library Interest Group. Prof, I am the chairperson of the Special Library Interest Group, and I'm on Bayans, and we are here. We are here, and then this, what we have been talking about, is been long overdue, because I still remember I also talked about that and said, why are we not included? Especially government libraries. We know that in government we don't have budget, but if you can if you can have a consortium, then we'll be able to afford the library resources. I think it's been long overdue. I've just said that on the chat box. It's been long overdue. We need to be roped in. Thank you so much, Maria and Prof.
Thank you, Madi Tipi.
Maria, can I just also add something?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Madi Tipi, thank you very much for leading me on that. I know there was a special interest group, special library interest group, just that, lately most of our interest group, especially since COVID, have not been that active. So I wasn't aware that it's still active. But Madi Tipi, next time when you have events, please feel free to invite us. We want to meet some of you guys so that we can collaborate, and especially with regards to training of librarians, visiting your library, but also assisting you with other things like training and so on and so on. So if there's anything that we can do to collaborate, that will be a great idea. And thank you very much for letting me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. We'll definitely do that. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor. I don't know if it's Dr. Mabaso online again, because there was a question for her. Any question from anyone?
Can I just come in here if Dr. Mabaso is not available? If you're interested in the quarterly bulletin, I do not think it's available online currently. But if you have any need for it, you can feel free to contact me or infodesk@nlsa.ac.za.
Thank you very much, Roselle, for the clarification. Any question from anyone? There's the hands up for Mzwandile Khatebe.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Mzwandile Khatebe, a principal librarian from Department of Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation in the Free State. So just to really take this opportunity to thank, the presentations were very, very informative. And I'm quite interested that when I have a conversation with my leaders and managers, we try to adopt some of the programs that were shared in these presentations. And thank you for that. As a department, it's one thing that we're trying to engage in and see to it as a department, how we can go about, introducing such new technologies through for IR in terms of improving our services. And as Prof. Makhatlela did mention the issues of budget in the presentation, that as government departments, we are always cautious when it comes to making decisions in terms of, as much as we want to engage into these new technologies and into such services that were presented, and we have to look into that quite carefully. But my interest is on the side of training, because I believe in the meantime, I know my department is working on that, but we need to get the training running in the meantime. But I'd like to ask Prof. Makhatlela, in terms of the opportunities that are there for us to train our staff on 4IR, because I've been engaging a lot of our officials to start learning and start attending workshops on such a topic. So I would like Mr. Makhatlela just to share with us some of those opportunities that are available in our sector, and how maybe if he has that information to share with us, how we can encourage our staff and our colleagues to get those opportunities and learn either on their individual basis, or as a department, we can get in and see to it that we train our staff on those subjects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mzwandile.
Maria, can I come in?
Yes, yes, you may come in, Prof.
Okay, MZ, thank you very much for the question. MZ is one of my former students. That's why he said Mr. Makhatlela. He knows me from many, many years ago. But thank you for the good question. What we do as the Program of Information Studies is we don't train people, or we don't train anyone with regards to the different technologies available out there. We just give out a background on the technologies that can be adopted. And it is the responsibility of the librarian to go out and look for those technologies. I mean, there's so many technologies that people can adopt. But what we have seen, and especially in the last year or two, is that there are so many big companies that are bringing these technologies to librarians. But they will make you buy something that you don't even need, because they want to sell their products to you. So you need to be careful. Maybe the best thing would be to start on the basic principles of the introduction of 4IR in libraries. And we have done this with another organization in Pretoria. I don't want to mention their names because we have a clause with them that deals with confidentiality. But what we did was we gave them a background on the available technologies that they can adopt. And we also asked them to go and benchmark with other organizations that have already introduced these technologies. And they came back to us with suggestions that they want to do. And we looked around with those suggestions, and we added on their list of suggested organizations that they can conduct and technologies that they can use to actually go to speak to those people. As we speak now, the same organizations that I'm talking about, they are the only, I think currently, the only library in South Africa where they don't have circulation desk anymore. Users get into their library, they get the books, they scan it with their own cards, and they go without the help of any one on the segregation. And I'm just giving an example. I think there are other libraries that are piloting that technology, but they are the ones that theirs is running perfectly, so without the help of anyone on the circulation desk. It might be a risk for any other libraries to do that. That's why I'm thinking that maybe if you were looking for a training, we will give you the basics of the different technologies available. I just did not have time to talk about these technologies, but I know a lot of technologies that you can adopt in your libraries that can be used, and it will then give you a light on where to go to look for organizations that can help you with those technologies that you want to adopt. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. There was a hand for Menzi. I'm not sure if Menzi is still there. And there is a question on the chat again from Luke Ngubani. Any attempt to get South African documents that are not available in our libraries? This is for Dr. Mabaso or anyone from National Library. Any attempt to get South African documents that are not available in our libraries?
Maria?
Hi, Nomzi. Nomzi,
Yes.
Hello, Nomzi. I say Menzi.
Okay, no, Nomzi, yes. No,
Yes.
my question is with Ms. Maluleke. Not a question per se, more than just to know. She explained the type of resources that they have in their special collections. They also have archives in their special collections. What I would like to get from from her, if we can get contact details, me and her, so that we can further on, because what I wanted to know, I wanted to know exactly what type of collection do they have in terms of especially books, because with us, we don't have archives with the library. We only have books on special collections. Because I want to beef up the collection that we have here. I'm in the Northwest University African campus. So I want to beef up the collection. It's not a comment per se, more than I wanted to just to know from her what collection do they have, except deeper collection. But then I think that one, it will need me and her talking outside of this meeting that we have now. Thank you.
Thank you, Nomzi. Is Maluleke available? Line Maluleke, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. I am available. I didn't get all the details about the question.
Okay, Nomzi said she's actually asking if she can get your contact details. She mostly wants to know what type of collections that we are having with you. Okay. But she can come in if she can hear me again. Okay. Nomzi, you can come in again.
Oh, thanks, Maria. No, Edline, I wanted to have some contacts with you so that I can see you can help me with your collection, because I want to beef up the collection that you have. I want to benchmark against your collection so that I can have the material that you don't have. That's why I was saying that that one might be outside this this meeting, but then I'm not sure how you can get my contacts.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Can I give you my contacts here or?
I don't have a problem, you can give me.
Okay, you see how my name is spelled at line ATLINE?
Yes.
M for first letter of my surname.
At line M?
At uj.ac.za.
Oh, okay. All right, no, it's fine.
Just drop me an email and then we can talk, and we've got a lot to talk and benchmark together.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.
Nomzi.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you, Etlin. There is still a question hanging there for National Library. Any attempts to get South African documents that are not available in our libraries? And there is also a question from Joshua saying, how can we access today's recording? I think the Sabinet is going to share us the recordings if I'm not wrong. Okay, there's the answer. There is the answer from Apelele Nzimande from the Liasa office. She said the recording will be available on Liasa News YouTube page. The link will be sent to everyone registered for the event once it is published with the public, so you can also share the recordings with your colleagues. Thank you, Apelele. The question for Dr. Mabaso was not answered yet.
Roselle has got her hand up. Maybe she wants to.
Hi, hello,
answer
Roselle, you can come in. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to the question on what is currently being done to get. Can you just repeat it to get publications from authors outside South Africa? What was the question?
Any attempt to get South African documents that are not available in our libraries.
Okay. Okay, there I can say that the National Library's collection development policy states that when we buy stuff overseas, it is usually via usually about South African authors or top or about South Africa, books outside of South Africa, about South Africa and by South African authors. That is our collection development policy. And then as well with interlibrary loans, we try and assist smaller libraries through interlibrary loans to get access to international documents. At the moment, because of the postal problems, we mainly focus on getting articles for libraries at the fee as in our tariff list.
Thank you, Roselle.
And then I can also I want to also add regarding special collections that the National Library also has a special collection section in Cape Town. The principal librarian there is Melanie Goestein. If people also wish to benchmark against that, they are welcome, and I can give them her email address.
Please, Roselle, give me.
Okay.
Okay, I will type it. I will type it in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Roselle. Is any question? If there is no question anymore, I think we can just go to the last item. Okay. Our last item is thanks and closure by Sekhanabo Jane Hwele from the University of South Africa. Jane, over to you.
Hello.
Hello,
colleagues.
Jane.
Colleagues, ladies and gents, it's a very good morning to you and thank you all for attending. As indicated in the program, my name is Jane from the University of South Africa, and I am a member of the ILL work group that organized this webinar. And they have tasked me with the role of giving a vote of thanks. First, I will give thanks to the group members themselves, myself included, for the different roles that they played in making sure that this webinar is successful. If you don't mind, I will briefly just introduce them, starting with the chairperson, Maria Mutsweni from the UP, that is the University of Pretoria. Antoinette Sandalowitz from the University of Johannesburg. We've got Elias Magalo from TUT. Next is Tsakani Matebula, HSRC. And from the National Library, as you've already heard, is Roselle Jansen van Vieren. Then we've got from Sabinet, Koketso Tladi. And lastly, it's Josephine Mudiba from University of Pretoria. Ladies and gents, Josephine will be retiring at the end of June, and we would like to take this opportunity to wish her only the best, because she is only the best. Thank you, Josephine. We hope you are going to enjoy your retirement, and we hope you will still join us now and then if you've got time. Then our gratitude goes to the speakers, Professor Makhatlela, the Sabinet crew, that is Koketso and Lynette, Atline and Dr. Refilwe for taking time from their busy schedules to share their knowledge and information with us here today. You indeed demonstrated the real purpose of interlibrary loan, that and only that of information sharing. I will conclude by thanking the attendees for making the decision to be part of this webinar. It wouldn't have been possible without you guys, and I hope you are looking forward to attending our next one in the near future. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you again.
Thank you very much, Jane. And on the chat, there is Luke Ngubane who says, may I have a number of the lady from SLIS, if it's okay, or email. Anyone who can give it to Luke. Thank you very much, and bye-bye, everyone.
Maria, can I just...
yes, Maditipi.
Look, my email is maditipi, or must I write it on the chat, Maria?
Yes, you can write it.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me just write it because it's a long one.
Yes.